Alright. What's going on, guys? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, hi, hello, what's going on? My name is Soul, usually referred to as Soul Story Mode, as made prominent on my main channel, Soul Story Mode, where we do any and all kinds of Pokemon-related content. If that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and check that out over there. However, over here, we like to do anything else but Pokemon-related content. So, we're going to be talking about a lot of different games, maybe movies, maybe anime, maybe books. Like I said in my last video, I'm trying to do a lot of different things on this channel here, especially this year. It's still pretty early, and we've got a lot of things to cover. Now, today in particular, in my last video, it's funny, I talked about it. Today in particular, we had a State of Play. A PlayStation State of Play, for those of you who don't know who it is essentially PlayStation's version of a Nintendo Direct. Essentially where they show off a good couple of the games that they're going to be giving us throughout the rest of this year. In this case, throughout the course of 2024, we've got a lot of different games to look forward to. Stellar Blade, a new Silent Hill, Death Stranding 2, although that's technically 2025, but whatever. And a lot of different cool games that may have slipped my mind right now, because obviously you've seen the title, you've seen the thumbnail. We're going to be talking about Sonic X Shadow Generations today. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the Shadow the Hedgehog aspect and why his inclusion in this Sonic Generations remake is so crucial. Now, this isn't essentially an analysis or anything like that. I'm down to do an analysis video on this very specific trailer if anybody's, willing to watch that. But I don't think I really need to. It's barely like a minute of content, and, we could try to break it down as much as possible, but there's not really that much to really dig into there. It's very obvious what's on the screen. The biggest things, obviously, being Shadow, Black Doom, Shadow the Hedgehog stages. Come on now. So there's also the Bio Lizard, which Shadow takes on by himself. I don't know. We don't know too much yet. We'll get into that when we get into that. However, I want to talk about why this is happening now and why this is so important to happen right now. This is a ramble, by the way. This is an excuse for me to just kind of talk about my hype, because I love Shadow the Hedgehog as a character so much. He is the Vegeta to Sonic's Goku. You know what I'm saying? He's that rival. He's Timothy Johnson. Alright? I love Shadow the Hedgehog. He truly is the ultimate life form, and nothing makes me more excited than seeing him back in action once again, especially in Sonic Generations, where he's finally playable. After millions of mods over the past 13 years, he's finally officially playable and important in Sonic Generations. And I cannot stand it. I'm so excited. I cannot stand it. I'm losing my mind, alright? I can't wait. I really, truly cannot wait. But here's the thing, right? The reason that they're doing this right now is because before anything else, they need to take this year to revitalize Shadow the Hedgehog a little bit, right? And by revitalize, I mean they need to put this character in more of a spotlight now more than ever, especially because the new movie is coming out in December, which, not by coincidence, is also around the general time that Sonic X Shadow Generations is going to be releasing to the public. So, in turn, there's a lot of newcomers who don't really know who Shadow the Hedgehog is or why we should care about him as a character. Okay, in the last, decade, Shadow has barely been present, or at least not very present whatsoever, in terms of Sonic games. Mainline Sonic games, at the very least. He was there in Forces, sure, but not a lot of people liked Forces, especially not enough to pay for Episode Shadow, whatever that was. I don't even remember what happened in Episode Shadow. You know why? Because I didn't play Forces. I don't care about Forces. I'm not wasting my money or my time on Forces. And so, therefore, outside of that, nobody knows who Shadow is. He wasn't in Lost World. He wasn't in Frontiers at all. He wasn't... What was before Frontiers even? I don't remember. But it doesn't matter, because Shadow the Hedgehog was not there. And so, with the movie coming out in December 23rd to be specific, they need to put Shadow in a little bit more of a limelight to get this new crowd of people that have been enjoying the movies and stuff like that back into, back into this character. They need to introduce this character to them a little bit so that they can see where he's coming from, right? And so, I get it. That's totally fine, and Generations is a very good and honestly probably the safest possible way they could have done that, especially even with the mainline, like the main Sonic fans that have been around forever. This is a very good way to do that and generate a little bit of money, because in all honesty, yeah, Sonic Generations is probably the best and polished game they've put out in a very, very, very long time, respectfully. All right. I mean, granted, I don't like there is no story to be told at all. It's an anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog, right? But I enjoy it a lot. It's a lot of people's favorite Sonic games, and ever since then, it's just been kind of a downhill slope. They didn't know what they wanted to do with Sonic after that anniversary title, so they've been kind of banking on it a little bit. But, you know, either way, regardless of any of that, they're putting Shadow in a little bit of a limelight because they need to really get this character out there more. And I think that's nothing short of a good thing. We need this character back in the spotlight. We need more Sonic friends to be more in a spotlight, because they have been ignored for way too long, and they're starting to kind of warm up to that idea. They're warming us up a little bit. With the Frontiers DLC, we got Amy, Knuckles, and Tails as playable characters. And now, in Generations, one of Sonic's biggest games in the last decade, we're getting Shadow the Hedgehog in his own story as a playable character. That is incredible, and I cannot wait. That is very, very good. This is also to give Shadow just a little bit more of a general presence in the series again, because he hasn't really had that in a good amount of time. Shadow was introduced to be Sonic's polar opposite. He's definitely meaner, yeah, he's physically stronger, and he doesn't run, he actually uses his shoes to actually just kind of glide along the ground. He is Sonic's complete polar opposite, and yet that's what makes them perfect rivals and perfect friends. It works out beautifully, and because we haven't really seen him in so long, you know, he just kind of sits in the back as kind of just a background character now, and we can't really have that anymore, because we got to remember, Shadow is such an important character, especially after the events of Sonic Adventure 2. He's been critical, right? If it wasn't for Shadow, none of these, Earth wouldn't even be where it is, you know what I'm saying? Or at least their version of Earth, you know what I'm saying? Shadow is so important to the history of Sonic now that there's no way they could have let him go. The problem was, though, is that just as fast as he was introduced and became beloved in Sonic Adventure 2, his story became a little more convoluted, and we don't know what to think of the character anymore. Right after that was, I think it was Sonic Heroes, right? Right after SA2, it was Sonic Heroes, and then it was Shadow the Hedgehog. And both of those games are kind of what messed up Shadow's story to begin with. Right? In Sonic Heroes, there's hundreds of androids or something. In Shadow the Hedgehog, he's an alien or something. Cool. Whatever. But it doesn't really matter, because we don't know where the timeline is anymore. We don't know what's canon, what's not, what makes sense, what's important. It's become a little bit of a mess, especially with Shadow's story. We barely know who this character is anymore. Yeah, he wants to be the ultimate life form. He feels himself as the ultimate life form. But why? Like, we don't know anything about this guy anymore. So I think that it's really good to bring him back. And, you know, with the presence of Black Doom in this trailer, it kind of solidifies the idea that Shadow the Hedgehog in of itself, that storyline could potentially be canon. But, you know, knowing Ian Flint, because he tweeted after that trailer went out, he put a knowing smile hashtag, meaning he knows something that we don't. That's what the knowing smile is. That's what he does, right? And so essentially, he could be involved. Maybe he's not involved. Who knows? But what we do know is that Black Doom being in Generations of all things, Sonic Generations, a game, you know, that's very important to the history of Sonic the Hedgehog, and now involving Shadow and giving us Black Doom as something that's guiding us, following us, or taunting us. We don't know what Black Doom's role is in Generations yet. And that's what's so interesting, okay? So I think that is very good that we're finally getting something that could help solidify where Shadow the Hedgehog is with, you know, at this point in time, where his history lies, what's important, what's not. Maybe Generations could tell us a little bit about that. And, you know, I can't imagine that Ian Flynn would do something like that, you know, tweet what he tweeted, not having some kind of involvement or something. you know, it's totally fine to rely on Ian Flynn to do a lot of the writing because he knows these characters, and I think he did an amazing job with Frontiers. So for him to actually get involved again and give us a little bit of a something with Shadow the Hedgehog, that is not a complaint for me by any means. All right, let's get out. Let's make that clear. All right, Ian Flynn, I'm leaving it in your capable hands, my boy. Okay, let's make that clear. I have a video that I want to make about this soon. However, I think that the best presence after SA2 for Shadow the Hedgehog, in my personal opinion, is Sonic 06. And I'm not kidding. And I know that sounds crazy, but that was one of the best written versions of Shadow, sadly enough, that we've had in a very long time. And so that's why I'm so freaking alarmed and why I'm so glad that we're finally getting more important Shadow lore, because, you know, Shadow in that game, he was the best thing about that game, straight up. Story wise, he didn't need to be there, truthfully enough. You know, he just kind of got involved. He was where he wasn't in a place where he was supposed to be, essentially, and because of that, he got involved with the story, he got involved with the plot. But, you know, he's not gonna sit there and not fix his mistakes, you know what I'm saying? He's one to own up, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not through words, but definitely in action. So yes, I do fully believe that Shadow the Hedgehog's presence in 06 was the last best time we had Shadow the Hedgehog's character. So I can't wait to see what Ian Flynn is cooking up here, and hopefully we can get something with Shadow's storyline in Sonic Generations, or Sonic Shadow Generations, whatever, however you want to say it. You know, looking at my notes here, I let myself ramble just a little too much. So I think I've pretty much accidentally covered everything that I wanted to cover in this video, because I just wanted an excuse to talk about Sonic X Generations, or Sonic X Shadow Generations. That is going to take forever for me to learn how to say it. But either way, I'm super excited, and I can't wait. I'm just over the moon about this announcement. And even though it technically kind of got spoiled because you know, some leakers got their hands on the PlayStation State of Play like info, whatever, so we knew a lot of what was coming and stuff like that, but I'm still immaculate that it's a real thing and that Generations could potentially be a lot better than I initially thought it was going to be. I'm buying it again. Straight up, they got me. I'm sold 1000%. That's a day one cop for me. Nobody's stopping me. I'll beat Generations main story in a freaking day. Don't play with me, because I know everybody and their mamas has played through Generations a million times by now. It's been well over a decade. Yeah, we're gonna beat that, and then we're gonna get right to Shadow's story. Hell, we might even start with Shadow's story at this point, because we just need more. We need more of this character, and we need it stat. Okay, maybe Sega thinks that, you know, it's not possible to make more games focused and centered around other people other than Sonic because they think that it might not sell well. But I think that they underestimate how obsessed we are with this series and its characters. All right, because Shadow the Hedgehog, you know, albeit it may have left a little tinsy-wincy bit of a stain on the series legacy, but it's not as bad as people remember. And I think that, you know, if they were to really take the time, just pick that game apart, pick up the little pieces here and there of the best moments of that game and really craft something really nice for Shadow, I think that they could really sell something beautiful with Shadow the Hedgehog's character. But I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching, maybe I'm out of my mind with that one. But 1 second. A friend of mine gave me this a very long time ago. You got anything to say, bud? Yeah, Ultimate Life Form, that's him. So, with that, I'm passing the mic. I'm taking the mic from Shadow because he's annoying. I'm giving it to you. And you guys sit there and tell me, what are your guys' thoughts on Sonic X Generation, or Sonic X Shadow Generations? Jeez! Do you think that it's going to give us a really solid story involving Shadow the Hedgehog? Do you think that we're finally going to get a good canon involving this character? Or do you think that it's just a cash grab thing and that they're not going to give us anything important and that we're doomed to just kind of repeat the same fate as the original Shadow the Hedgehog and possibly other Sonic titles, as sometimes we always do? Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, it is skedaddle o'clock. So I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. Do me the greatest favor, drop a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gonzo. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.